Maybe would you bang that on there?
Showing off.
Call it the Snoqualmie Valley School District Board of Directors meeting to order. Today is February 26, 2026, and we have all the 5 directors present. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is 1.03, approval of the meeting minutes of the meeting February 12, 2026, regular board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. The next item is 1.04, communication and recognition.
Thank you, Ram. I'll start by reminding everyone of our vision and mission statements. In the Snoqualmie Valley School District, our vision is to cultivate confident, creative, and compassionate students who are fully equipped with necessary skills, knowledge, and resilience to thrive in a global society. And how we do that through our mission. Together, we will educate every student in a challenging, innovative, and inclusive environment, empowering them to reach their full potential. So as a reminder to guide our work, we do have some recognition this week. This is actually March, but we don't have a board meeting before that. March 2nd through 6th is our National Social Workers Week. And we are very appreciative of their work and how they help our students maintain healthy, productive educational days. We have March 6th, which is Maintenance and Ground Worker Appreciation Day. And more and more every year, I'm more appreciative of their work, especially after the flood and the work it took to get the schools open the following week right away. Did a fantastic job and continue to do so. March 9th through 13th is Education Support Professionals Week. So we want to recognize those folks for the work they do to make sure our students have an awesome experience in our school district. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. Before we move on to public comment, I have a public comment just to appreciate our community for their support.
Want to recognize those folks for the work they do to make sure our students.
And it's not going off.
And that's my
Thank you so much.
It was the
It's
live
not-
stream.
It's a live stream, delayed. All right. Anyways, to continue, I really want to appreciate the community for supporting us in the levies, because now that it is certified, all that support means a lot to every child in our district in one way or the other. So thank you for your support. All right, moving on to the next public comment. We do have, we don't have, right?
Here.
All right.
Not here.
Looks like Dutch signed up for public comment, but is not available. We do have one written comment which will be attached to the meeting minutes. And so that is 2.01. Moving on to approval of consent agenda. Before that, we would like to acknowledge the gifts to the district. We have 3 gifts today to share. One is to Mount Si High School from Wildcat Booster Girls Tennis Club. This is for $2,200 for tennis uniforms. The next one is to North Bend Elementary from North Bend Elementary PTA, a sum of $5,992.51. This is towards the North Bend Elementary grants for classrooms. The third one is Cascade View Elementary School from Cascade View Elementary PTSA for the amount of $12,400 for Camp Seymour. We greatly appreciate that contribution and we sincerely thank you. Now moving on to approval of consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next one is exciting. Student rep report, 4.01.
And I believe Avery is at DECA competition, so Grayson
Yeah.
is on her own
Solo.
tonight.
Okay. Yeah, so Avery is at her state competition for DECA, so I was like, I'll take care of it tonight. So here is our February student rep report. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Mount Si, student focus group, a CT spotlight, and the tech fair. So what has happened at Mount Si? We finally had our fall recognition assembly after many reschedules and cancellations from the flood, and then Mr. Bartel was sick, and then we couldn't do it one of the days because it was during finals week. We wanted to give everyone time to study. So we finally had it about 3 weeks ago. And then with that, winter sports are also wrapping up, and we have spring sports trials coming up next week. For winter recognition, we are choosing to do an assembly, but have a couple little tweaks. First of all, it's going to be an AM assembly this time instead of a PM assembly to maybe see if we can get more participation and like attendance to the assembly. And then we are still going to utilize Wildcat TV to kind of create hype around the winter recognition assembly. And we are planning to interview different athletes that have went to state or didn't go to state to kind of like bring awareness to all the different sports that we're going to recognize, and hopefully be able to interview some seniors that have been in a sport for all 4 years. Leadership is also starting to plan what we're going to call March Madness, and it is going to be happening in the third week of March, right when it kind of hits that halfway point between midwinter break and spring break. This is the longest stretch that we have with like no break at all, not even like a 3-day weekend. So we want to be able to have like some fun at school to kind of try to break that up a little bit. So leadership activities are starting to plan activities, decorations, and more around the school to be able to celebrate that week. And it also is conveniently at the start of March Madness, so there will be a little bit of like a basketball theming to some stuff, and people can make brackets if they want to and try to see if they can win a prize off of it, which is also really fun. And we also had our first senior class photo, and then coming up soon is Wildcat Night on March 12th, and clubs and electives will both be able to be in attendance to try to convince future freshmen that they should either join that elective, join that club, and kind of start thinking about what they could be doing next year. Okay, and then a big thing for a lot of high school students was the tardy kiosk that was just put in place, I think about 2 weeks ago now, or 3 weeks ago because of midwinter break. Lots of problems at first, I will say. I talked to Miss Redmond, who is the admin in charge of attendance. In the first week, it took about 40 minutes to get everyone through the tardy kiosk in first period, with 200 people arriving late to first period, which was a big issue. And I kind of went around and talked to a couple people about what they thought about the tardy kiosk at first. And they were starting to pull people in at, I think, like 7:48 or so, even though school starts at 7:50 for the tardy kiosk. So it took a lot longer for a lot of students to get to their classes than them just showing up late and having the teacher mark them tardy. However, I think that it scared people off a little bit because now we saw a drop by 50% in first period late attendance. So now a month later, only 100 students are late to school in first period every single day, no later than 8 a.m. everyone's through. So I think that having people wait almost a whole class period to get through, people definitely switched up a little bit on getting to school on time and making sure that they are in class, which is great. But now they've kind of switched up some things to make the flow go faster, besides people actually getting to first period on time. So they have made things faster by adding a second computer and then also having the ability to just scan your student ID, because before you were having to put in your 6-digit code 3 different times for it to be able to actually print you out a receipt to go to your class. So this has made it a lot more efficient for people to actually move through the line. And also another thing that I was talking to Ms. Redmond about was there's a lot of Wi-Fi issues that were making the computers like not respond very well as they were trying to like get all these like tardy tickets printed out. So with Wi-Fi issues being fixed, that also helped a lot with the traffic. But we have seen obviously a 50% decrease, so it is working well, and most students are actually getting to class faster than before.
Grace, and I wanted to ask, do you know if there was any testing of the system done before it was implemented?
I don't think so. So
It
they
doesn't appear so.
There-
no.
I think they're, Andrea, do you know?
Yeah.
There was testing, and also there's a few things that I'll just add is that the longest kid that waited in that line for 40 minutes was only 8 minutes because the line just keeps
Yeah,
the line just
coming
didn't go
late.
Until 40 minutes.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
no
got it.
kid waited longer than
Mhm.
8 minutes by themselves, and that's about how long they waited with Sarah doing it
Yep,
manually.
manually, yeah.
So it's pretty equivalent
Yeah.
time. This is actually, like she said, making it more efficient after the trial and error. They didn't know about the Wi-Fi because when they only had to do 1 or 2 in the testing, they didn't have a line to do the volume, but they did test it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of like something that was definitely going to be happening, because even in a lot of class meetings, senior and junior classes, which were the repeat offenders of having first period tardies, a lot of us had like attendance issues, so they wanted to make it so then it would put less like pressure like on our attendance secretary to get people through, and instead being able to become more efficient with just having a ticket print out to you. And it also sends it right to the teacher that you were tardy, so it doesn't have them stop class or like have to remember to go back onto Skyward and then manually put it in. So it makes class like not be super disruptive if people are coming in late first period.
Huck's Daughters has seen a decline in.
I was wondering. That's how it was in Starbucks, yeah.
Okay, so now into the student focus group. To summarize what we were kind of looking at last time, it was really just coming up with questions. So what we came up with is that, like, how do we get students to feel more connected to not only their peers, but also their teachers, which was like the big thing that we wanted to focus on, because the whole purpose of the student focus group is to improve the culture at Mount Si, but also to work alongside Christian Page, who is a speaker that we had come in October, and he's coming back in April. So I think just like over a month from now, he'll be coming back and doing another assembly with us, but also being able to work with our student focus group to be able to kind of check up and see like how we've been improving school culture. So our solution to that was to foster connection through weekly connection activities that teachers are encouraged to do. They don't have to, but what it is going to be is a 6-week pilot where teachers either continue to do the connections activities that they already do, or have the teachers that don't start implementing them. And it doesn't have to be every day. It can be like, for example, on the block days when it's usually like the longest period for students to sit through, especially when that is either like our test day or like lecture period normally. And it gets a chance for students to know each other better, but also the teacher better, because a lot of students in the student focus group and also outside of that have said that they don't feel like they know their teachers quite as well as they think that they should. And it kind of doesn't build like trust factors like within like the teacher to student relationship. And again, it's like meant to like kind of create a break within class to get to know each other, because I know for at least some of my classes that we don't really get the opportunity to talk to each other. I might not know someone like in that classroom, might not know their name, things like that. So it's to have this is like to switch that up, to be able to start knowing each other's names better, or knowing like what we like. And basically the whole point of the student focus group students is to be able to go into these classrooms and kind of be like the little like plants to like get these like conversations going a little bit. So we have all been like kind of put on this like master schedule by Miss Alter, and have had us like all assigned to her classrooms. Like other people are also in the student focus group. So then when people like when the teachers start doing these connections activities, we could be the ones that if no one else wants to respond, like we could get the conversation going. And we didn't have to if we didn't want to, but most of us opted in to be able to help the teachers out with this, because we want to be able to increase connection around the building. And then when Christian Page comes back, he'll kind of like review, I guess, the results in some way with like how we did with like our connection building.
Grayson, that's a great idea. I hope you can bring those results and some of the feedback when it's
Yeah.
available.
I think that will be cool. Some teachers are definitely skeptical. I had to kind of give this like presentation slide to the teachers at their staff meeting on Tuesday. And when I came to school after, they were kind of like some of my teachers that don't do connection building activities either were interested or a little scared to do it because the reason why they hadn't in the past is because students don't participate. But hopefully, if we have a couple students on board in every single class, that we can actually get other people to participate and hopefully build that connection. Because I think right now the problem is that like people don't have like a shared vulnerability with each other, and continuing these activities will help create that so then people feel more comfortable with their classmates. Okay, and now into the CT spotlight, we're doing the welding class with Lorelei Justice, who is a senior and has been doing welding for I think 2 to 3 years now. Okay, so we first asked, how has the classes built your knowledge in the field? So for her, it has allowed her to understand how to properly like set up safety procedures, equipment setup, and also just different welding techniques, and that she's learned a lot of hands-on skills with and just have gained confidence within like metalworking and welding. And then also, how does this pathway stand out? It's helped her learn real world skills and give her like industry knowledge and practical training that goes beyond the classroom, because many other schools or other opportunities do not give you the chance to have like the real like work like with welding. Because I know a couple years ago there was a welding class that even made a boat and got to I think take it out on Rattlesnake Lake. I'm not exactly sure, but things like that is like are obvious opportunities that not every school gets to take and not every student gets to take. Okay, and then what has made you continue the program for multiple years? And she says that she wanted to continue the class because she was constantly learning and also being able to have hands-on work instead of just having a lecture being taught to you about it. She got to actually go and make her own things. And then we asked her if she's pursuing a career after high school in this, but she said no, not initially, but also that she's more open to the career and has like made like more connections and understandings to the people that choose welding as a career, which is really cool. Okay, and then the tech fair. So this was Avery's slide, so I'm just gonna kind of go through this a little bit. So she was the one that went to the tech fair after the board meeting a month ago, and she put down some like things that she noticed about the tech fair in general. So she thought there was a lot of student involvement overall, but very few students outside of the people that were at the tech fair were actually involved like within the event to like go to all these booths. And again, the reason why there was a lot of student involvement was because most of the booths were student led, because it was either through classes that they had taken or they had partnered with certain people to be able to present this to tech to others. One thing that she wondered was how attendance could increase among students, because the tech fair wasn't something that was necessarily promoted to a lot of high schoolers, and instead it was promoted to a lot of like the younger students. So it's how could we increase attendance for younger students, but also maybe have high schoolers come to this event as well, because things like this, it was advertising classes, and this could be a great opportunity for them to actually see like the hands-on work that people do in these classes, because upperclassmen don't really have the same opportunities as future freshmen do to be able to like look at electives and see what they're doing, because we don't have like a designated like wildcat night for us. That one is just for freshmen. And then also she wondered how other district events could be run and maybe even had more student-led ones like this, and how we can increase just like community building among like multiple different schools, so like elementary school, middle school, high school. Okay, so then we interviewed 2 students that were that had booths at the tech fair. So she asked them 4 questions, which was, how did representing our school make you feel? Would you participate next year and why? What would make the experience even better for future student volunteers? And do you think students should be encouraged to participate and why? So the first person that we interviewed was Faith Newman, who is a junior, and she said that representing Mount Si made her feel proud because she got to see all the amazing work that our district was doing, and more excited to learn about other students' passions. She was also excited to show what it was like to be working in a class and display what she is passionate about. So then her participating again, she said that she'd be most likely to participate in something, again, because she would like to continue showing what Mount Si students are doing and working hard at. and she thinks that the event would have like better impact if there were more attendees. So again, like with the whole like passion sharing thing, like she could show other people what she liked, but also like people can go to her and be like, look at what I've made and what I've learned in this class. And then she also said that she thinks that more students should be encouraged to participate because it's the best way to make a difference and explore passions or aspirations and get to actually do hands-on work with them. And volunteering can be a great way to do so within your school. And then we have Emily Mitchell, who's also a junior, and she represented the AP Environmental Science program at Mount Si. So she said, representing Mount Si made me feel very proud and fulfilled to see how impressive our tech programs are and how they connect with the members of our community. And then she would be most likely participate again because it was very fun and engaging with my school and to see all different kinds of programs that our access to technology provides. And then what would make the experience better is that for future student volunteers, more designated time to be able to walk around and explore the fair. What she said was like she had to kind of go to her booth and there wasn't like time for her to really walk around unless she was going to leave it with like no like person attending it. So being able to have like a designated time for her to be able to walk around, but then also share her things. So then it was like a little bit more like student interaction, which I thought was a really good point to bring up. And then she also said that she definitely thinks more students should be encouraged to participate because it has it's very eye-opening to see just how many different amazing programs Mount Si has to offer. And that is something that everyone should be able to see and at least appreciate. And that is the end of the report. Does anyone have any questions?
Just a comment. I think the tech fair was huge.
Mhm.
I mean, even I walked for an hour and I barely could finish a third of it. So uh, definitely, I think this feedback is fantastic. If we were to do every year, then I think the participation will increase and changes or the impact will also increase. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. So we just have to figure out who takes the responsibility to do that. That's
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, it was a great event for sure.
I just wanted to ask, was Wildcat TV there, and could that be a way to communicate more for next time?
Yes, I think it can. I know over the past couple years that Wildcat TV has been kind of, I guess, like working through a couple of different things because my freshman year and even my sophomore year, leadership had a lot of more opportunities to be able to like share like things that are happening around the community, and that has been cut back to have more TV production classes. So now TV production, you can fill out forms to be able to have them like talk about something, but it doesn't normally have the same effect as it did like my freshman sophomore year with leadership doing it, because I think it was interactive in just a different way because the TV production students want to focus like a little bit more on like creative projects. So this year we finally have like brought back leadership segments to Wildcat TV, and it's been a great place for like us to like try to get like more community outreach that way because every single student at Mount Si watches it on Friday. So that is definitely something that we could look forward to in the future. And that's what we're trying to do right now with like advertising like the Winter Recognition Assembly to like hopefully get a little bit more like visibility to these athletes before they go out during the assembly and sit in front of 1,000 people and like have people cheer for them. So hopefully it creates a little bit more community that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I would just like to appreciate the way the ASB is leading the charge and trying to connect students and teachers more.
Mhm.
I just think that's really powerful that that's coming from the students to the teachers.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the work that you guys have been doing this year.
I love that you interviewed a couple of the people who presented at the tech fair. I was so excited to see the variety of presentations there and the programs that it reaches into. It was really right in front of you, a visible example of how we don't really have a program where tech is not impacting the learning and the work that they're producing. And I just think it was a really, really great experience. I was so happy to get to talk to some of the students, and I love these answers. So I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Move. Oh, careful.
I don't know where that went.
We'll figure it out.
That's why we have tech crew.
All right, moving on to item number 4.02, strategic plan, well-being and belonging.
And we have Executive Director Zier and Heimbigner up to present.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm just going to hop right along here. This just the first slide just kind of reminds us of what this part of our strategic plan includes. So the first part is the SEL mental health and counseling. I'm not going to go over every single thing on the slide because we could be here all night, but I'm just going to highlight a few things. So one of the things I would like to highlight is that secondary SEL is well underway this year. And I think I've used this reference before, but we're hiding it like vegetables in spaghetti sauce, meaning that our classroom teachers are integrating it into their existing lessons because we just know from talking to kids, which you'll hear kind of some echoing of student voice later on, is that we hear from our secondary students that having those canned SEL lessons like they did in elementary school does not resonate with students in grades 6 through 12. But when they're reading novels that have characters that naturally aligns to the Washington State SEL benchmarks, they can take a moment and deliver that embedded when they're reading the novel, and then it doesn't feel like a canned SEL lesson. And so our teachers spent a huge part of August getting professional development on this, identifying where these SEL benchmarks naturally occur embedded in their existing curriculum, and then working to deliver that with fidelity. So every 6th grade science class is embedding the same SEL benchmark in the same unit. Every 9th grade English class is embedding the same SEL standard in the same unit. And they're going to continue to expand that over the next few years to make sure that we're covering the breadth and depth of all the SEL benchmarks naturally embedded in all of the curriculum while they are in grade 6 through 12. So that is, we started that work this year, and we're going to continue to add to that, which is really exciting. And then an elementary shout out and highlight from this is just they did a lot of PD this year focused on self-management based on their MySabers data. So they use their MySabers data to see where is our greatest need within our elementary students, and then the work of the AP and deans, the professional development for the teachers, and the focus of the student lessons use that MySabers data to target that self-management part of the SEL standards. And then we're doing all those other things that are on there, like the tier 1 and tier 2. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the mental and physical health. So I wanted to do a quick shout out to Care Solace. So as you hopefully know, we brought that on last year. And one of the things we heard from our families and communities is the biggest need they have is getting connected to mental health services in our community and knowing what's covered by insurance and long wait lists. And so we did some research and we partnered with Care Solace. And I've got some data here just to show that 655 folks have accessed in our district Care Solace this year in some way or another. They've had over 5,300 communications to and from within Care Solace of those 655, and there's currently 97 active cases of our students or staff or family members of our students accessing mental health services that they were connected to through Care Solace, not to mention some of the ones that are in progress of being matched right now. So that number will continue to grow, and that's just from this school year. That doesn't include additional students that utilize this service last year. So we get the data broken down by each year that we partner with Care Solace. So clearly it's a service that is being utilized by our families, which is great.
What are the ways that families find that service?
There are lots of ways, and one of we actually asked our students in our student survey, which I'll talk about also later on tonight, is if they even know about the service that exists. One of the ways we started is just by training our social workers and our school counselors, and they do something that's called a warm handoff, where when they're working with students and they know that this might be a need and it comes up, say in an MTSS meeting, or just the student drops by and sees their school counselor and says, I'm having some issues with anxiety or whatever, that they can do what's introduce them and do a warm handoff and help them get connected. So that's probably the biggest way that students are getting connected right now, but we also push it out through like newsletters or can email it to families and they can do their own searches. It does live on all of our websites, but we need to continue to grow in communication because not everyone even knows that it's there, and I expect these numbers to grow as we continue to expand how we let our students know that it's available. But right now, probably the greatest way is warm handoffs through school counselors and social workers.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other
To grow that one, awareness is probably the biggest challenge, right?
Yeah, I mean, you put stuff on the website, you send it out in a newsletter, and then if they don't need it at that moment when they see it, they might skim by, and then later on when something comes up with their student, they might not remember that it exists. So it's really about kind of just making sure we repeat it, and so that then it really becomes a memory to to families. So that's kind of what we're working on.
Is there a wellness page? There's so many pages, so forgive me for not knowing the answer to this. But is there a wellness page where if somebody went to our site and searched like support for mental, like they would go not to necessarily student services, but like to a page that said, here's some things to look at and here's Care Solace and
Yeah, it's connected in several different places.
Okay.
Connor's done a great job on our district website. It's right there in one of the drop downs that kind of connects to resources for families. But then also, like I know our high school has like a great counseling newsletter. It's there, so it lives in a whole bunch of different places. And some of them are mindless wellfulness, some of them are newsletters, some of them are the counseling section of the website. So it's kind of spammed out in a lot of places. But yes, yeah.
great. Thank you.
I've heard also from principals and people on their MTSS teams when they've met with parents and families, it's come up organically in those conversations as well. So it may not be something that families are searching for or they know that we have, but in those conversations where it comes up, they're happy to have that resource.
We also include it like we have an incident, let's say. We'll send it out as, in addition to like employee assistance is something we send for employees, but now we send Care Solace in addition to our students. So after an incident has occurred, that's another way that we're communicating that out.
Well, when somebody is identified in the MTSS program, I feel that it is already late in the sense that they're getting assistance when they have, crossed over in a way. Is there any self-awareness type of thing, stigma, all those things are being thought about so that there is more openness to seek services or support. So that's where I am, thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think our counselors are working on that a little bit through their SEL lessons of like when they talk about it's okay when you have big feelings to ask for help or navigate, you know what I mean? So I think that that's naturally coming up a little bit, but we can always do better at that because I agree. It's we don't want it to be like when it's too late.
Right.
I think that's been helpful of having the Savers data and the My Savers data also going, because elementary we've gone through a whole year now. And so, I'm using mine. But teachers are able to get a preview and a heads up, and all of our MTSS teams have like a where teachers can go to them even before it gets to the point that they need help and share concerns, and then they make a plan for what we're going to do before it gets to the point for needing a referral. So I think using both of those pieces have been helpful.
The other part that I would just highlight on this was kind of actually is a nice segue is that the huge part of this work is our comprehensive school counseling plan, which actually is kind of all these things, is looking at the Care Solace and whether our students do and do not know about this and when it's too late and how do we make sure that our families know about it, but also looking at things like attendance. Attendance is really a symptom. It's not a problem of itself. It's a symptom of a problem. And so using some of our early attendance data and using Care Solace to connect to students to those services just as their attendance issues are starting to emerge and not when it's a chronic absenteeism. So that's kind of where all of this comes together, is that comprehensive school counseling plan that's looking at it from a big picture of a tier 1 lens, a tier 2, what data, what are we hearing from students, and bringing that all together. So this is just kind of highlights the why. It's just sort of that hierarchy of needs. All of this is integrated, right? So if students aren't attending class because of a symptom of mental health or counseling needs, or the SEL is not resonating with them, then they might start to have academic struggles and other things like that. So this is just knowing that, we know that what comes first is making sure our students feel good and are in a place where they can access school and attend school and can behave while they're at school. And so this is where all that comes together. Now I'm going to talk just a little bit about the data dashboard, which you'll see slides throughout this, which is how are we going to capture this and monitor this part of our strategic plan. In tomorrow's Friday report, you'll get a link that has just the starting of the building of that, and it's going to grow, and then we'll have a work study on the March 26th. I think that's the right date, board meeting, a learning session where you look at the preview in more full. There'll be more data by then. But these are the components of the data under this section of the strategic plan. So we'll have big high-level My Savers data, kind of look at where our patterns and trends are among our students, attendance data, school exclusion data, so some of that discipline data, healthy youth survey, that might come later, but we can look at a couple of years previous. And then we have that student survey that we're doing, which as a reminder, for all the components of our strategic plan where we don't have a set of data that's like specifically, grades or STAR reports or My Sabres data, we're asking our students questions that align to these elements of the strategic plan so we can get their voice and figure out how they feel, how this is going. And so there are questions here. You can see the topics of the questions that align to this aspect of the strategic plan, and then that student voice data will be represented as well on the data dashboard. Hand it over to Monica.
Okay, the next component of this one is student engagement and belonging, and I feel like Grayson teed us up really nicely for the next series of slides that I'm going to go through. But I just kind of wanted to remind also when you all designed this part, it went beyond just that social emotional, but also tied the academic pieces to it, because as we know, the two go hand in hand. So when we think about student engagement and belonging, the things that are happening in all of our schools, it is those extracurricular activities, the co-curricular, the things that are happening within ASB in all of our schools from elementary to middle and high school. But it also has to do with that engagement and personal growth of our students and setting goals, which we know is going through our high school and beyond plan as they get older, but also the goal setting that starts at elementary in our November conferences. Those are no longer where it's parent teacher, it's parent, student, and family, and they come together and set goals for the year. And then it's really creating that culture in our schools and that sense of belonging, which we know is both academic. If you feel like you're engaged in your academics and that you have voice in those pieces, then you're going to be a little bit more engaged. And then those extracurricular pieces are kind of like that icing on the cake that also helps pull those pieces in. Celebrating the hard work our students do. And then really the bottom line is ensuring that all of our students feel valued and heard. So some of the things that are happening across the board here, I'm not going to go through all of them similar to Andrea, but the one thing is it ties into what we talked about in one of our previous presentations, but the UDL and inclusive practices that are happening. So we know that if we can engage our students in using those strategies, so working with our teachers through professional development and really honing in on the specific things that our kids need to feel engaged. So offering those diverse opportunities for students to share their knowledge, right? Different ways to engage in the classroom other than just, sitting and getting information in one way. But in using and eliciting those principles, kids are feeling more connected to their teachers and also feeling more successful in the classroom. So really I think the big bridge here between the two is that academic piece and the focus on those inclusive practices and UDL. And then the other piece on here that we wanted to talk about, like I said, Grayson teed us up really nicely just by talking about student involvement. And the more that kids are involved as adults, I think sometimes we think, oh, kids are going to love this. But really hearing from the kids, that's way better, because there are a lot of things I think we think are cool that students don't. And so letting them be the drivers and the decision makers in those pieces. And that's not only happening here at the high school, it's happening at middle schools with their ASB, and then elementary schools all have student leadership groups who come in and they're doing things like on their Friday morning announcements, and they're the ones planning their spirit weeks and doing the different pieces. So between ASB and then at elementary, those PBIS clubs, we're hearing student voice in all those areas. I kind of already mentioned this as a through, but that stronger sense of belonging through academics and culture obviously is going to engage our students and make them want to be a part of our schools. And how we'll represent this, the feeling part is really hard to do in data. So we'll use the survey, and the student survey goes all the way down to 4th grade, and there's some specific questions that are gleaned in these particular areas, and we'll have the opportunity later to share with you what the specific questions are. But we are able to elicit responses from our kiddos in all of these areas that should be able to guide us then in the areas we need to do a little bit more work in all of these to find out how students are feeling, both about academics and their sense of connection to the school.
All right. So you're hearing a lot about the survey tonight. So I think the other part that we're doing outside of the survey is already we're bringing students and we're making sure that they're part of our day-to-day operations. So they're included in our curriculum adoptions. They're included in some of our interviews of hiring when we hire new staff. As you remember last year, we involved them heavily in our math pathway conversation and MTSS committee work that we're going to be doing for planning secondary MTSS across the board. So we're getting student voice in at that that table. But then I think what the next step is using those student survey results to go back to the students. And once we find out where we're knocking it out of the park and where we have work to do, is going back to the students to figure out how do we fix this, like in those areas that we have work to do. And so I think grading is like a perfect example of this. We talked about math grading. It came up quite a bit last year, right? And the parents were saying one thing that was actually quite different than what the students were saying. And then that was quite different than what the staff were saying. And so really it's about digging into what are each of those voices saying, and then how do we all come together to make sure everyone understands what we're doing and that it's working for all of those different stakeholders. And student voice was, I think, key in that, and continues to be. I know grading outside of math in general still continues to come up when we were looking at our survey results, when we were doing our search for our principal here at Mount Si High School. That continues to be a key area of something that we need to talk more about. So that's that part of this. Some of the highlights, I think we talked about this, but every administrator across the board picked a parent university project this year that kind of falls under this umbrella of the strategic plan, and looked at what are the greatest areas to educate our parents and make sure that they have what they need. So I'm going to just highlight two great examples. Connor has a video coming out soon that's adorable about kindergarten readiness. And so it's really helping educate our parents who are probably anxious about sending their kids to kindergarten and thinking that, does my kid need to know how to read and tie their shoes and all those things? And like, what do they really need to know? So we've been working on not just a video, but there's also handouts and advertisements and the events that help them prepare, and working with our local preschool partners as well as the parent audience. And so get excited, that video is coming next week after next. And so that'll be a huge part of this project. This parent university work that we're doing. And then another one is we have a videographer coming out on Monday and Tuesday who's going to be doing a video for us around the 8th to 9th grade transitions for our families. And so the video is going to be pretty high level, just talking about what's required for students to graduate. And it's going to kind of bring together excitement about coming to Mount Si when their opportunities really increase from that middle school, their choices and electives, and how they can dig much deeper into their interests, and how they look at balancing rigor and what they want to do in terms of extracurriculars with meeting their graduation requirements while also exploring what they might want to do after high school, like kind of having all of those different conversations merge into one, and how parents need to know about that and also facilitate those conversations at home. And then ideally what will come out of that is then our families will sit down with their kiddos and make a 4-year plan, and then that plan can be revised year after year. So we're very excited. We have a videographer who's going to be filming here on Monday and Tuesday, and then that will be delivered to our 8th grade families this year for the first time ever, and we'll continue to use that. In addition to that, we built a parent university website that partners with the video around the national career clusters. One of the things I think is hard to do is we can't offer a class for every single career interest. Like we can't offer HVAC tech as much as Dan wants me to, and manufacturing and culinary and whatever, because we'll just oversaturate. While we're a big school, we're not that big, right? But what we do look at is what are those national career clusters, and how do we make sure we're offering something in each of those so that students can stay here at Mount Si High School, not have to go to Wanak if they can't, or Running Start, and still make sure they can explore under every single one of the 14 national career clusters. So the video also includes educating folks about that, and Connor's built a very beautiful website that allows them to see what courses we offer under each of the 14 career clusters, what are the most in-demand careers within those clusters that will allow students to get a quick job on the job market, and what are the highest interest careers of our Mount Si High School students based on the surveys they take around their interests. So all of that is in a beautiful visual on the website that's going to be part of that video and part of the work we hope parents and students do together. So we're pretty excited about that. So some other highlights, this is the area about our relationships with other folks that help us. So our PTSAs, our boosters, I don't think we have any new partnerships this year. It's just really more about expanding those relationships. So we did a wonderful resource fair where we had a couple new partners in the resource fair for our families, but also just thinking about what can we do different within these partnerships. I know that our partners with our mentoring are expanding to actually start advertising to our Mount Si High School students to become mentors for our students, and how we can make that work within our elementary and secondary schedule. And so that they're always in need of mentors for our students. And so that's one way that we're just expanding an existing partnership. So this is just kind of, again, about bringing this all together. Why do we need this? We need good partners. We need the whole parent, student, community, partner, and staff all to come together to do what's best for our kiddos. And so this is really just highlighting the why here. And then the last piece is that data dashboard. So there are student survey questions that will be represented on the data dashboard about whether students feel like they have lots of ample opportunity to provide feedback, and then how they feel connecting to their peers and their staff. So hand it back over to Monica.
And the last component of this goal has to do with your culturally responsive practices. And as you all know, because you wrote the pieces of it, it's layered in this one because we know that similar to SEL, teaching cultural responsiveness, if you teach it as a standalone, it doesn't work. It's better to embed it and have it be authentic. And so the parts of this that schools are working on that are outlined in the strategic plan are obviously acknowledging the diverse and wonderful perspectives we have, all the different cultures and heritage, and honoring those, building the strong family connections. All of these have been embedded through the things we've talked through tonight and in previous. Those inclusive teaching methods, I think that's the primary driver of all of this, is making sure that students see themselves regardless of who they are and what they bring to the table, but they see themselves in the text. They see themselves in the pictures. They see themselves within the classroom walls, and they also have the chance to represent who they are in those very unique ways. Integrating diverse perspectives into those curricular pieces, so just ensuring all of our curriculum has that. I know right now we're in the middle of our ELA adoption, or getting close to the recommendation point, and that's been a big part that our teachers and students have really, it's been exciting to see. New curriculums are very in tune to that, and so it's been exciting to see the students' comments around that, and the curriculums that have resonated more with students really are those ones where kids are feeling connected to the text and the pictures and the images they see. So it's fun to see that firsthand. High expectations, and just making sure that our practices are equitable and honor all students and families that we engage with. Some highlights beyond the UDL and inclusive practice work that we're doing is really focusing on those integration pieces, and also building events within our schools where all of our families, it kind of breaks down those barriers and they feel welcome, they feel invited. All of our schools are doing at least one, many more than one, but at least one event during the year. This year, most of them have already done it, where it's either a cultural fair or an event during the day or in the evening that's honoring the different traditions and cultures within the school buildings themselves. We've had a lot of new work with the Snoqualmie Tribe this year. They have a roving assembly that they're bringing out now, and then connections also to the museum. So that's been fun to see the different opportunities with our local tribes and our heritage. And this just gets at, again, kind of that idea of those embedded practices and the idea of, we're stronger together when our families become partners. So ensuring what we do within the walls also extends to how we communicate with parents, how we invite them in, how they feel, and improve equity in all of our student experiences, just to promote more voice is better than one voice. In our student survey for this one, the 3 highlights really have to do with getting at, do our students feel like they can be their authentic self when they come to school? So that goes for all kids, but that they're not hiding behind an image, but when they come here, they can be vulnerable, they can be who they are, and they can show that authentic self. Also, that representation, input versus output. The input is what I talked about, where we're making sure kids see themselves and who they are in the text, in the articles, in all the things that we're doing. And then the output is that they feel comfortable to be able to honor who they are in the work that they're producing. So it isn't just kind of one way to do it, but they can represent in multiple ways, and they can share their perspectives and their voice in those different ways. So we have survey questions around those very specific things, because I think we'll get some interesting information that will help us be able to work with our teachers to make sure all kids feel like they have that. And then just in summary, in all of kind of those 4 areas, the work that we continue to do, and it's just kind of the living, breathing work of the district, is just strengthening those SEL instruction. But like Andrea said, it's not a standalone, it's embedded within. So what the work that they're doing at the high school and all their classes, our elementary ELA curriculum that we'll recommend, it'll be embedded within those lessons, and the scope and sequence, Jessica Ackley, our behavior specialist, will go in and take the standards and tie them right into the particular scope and sequence. So it's embedded in elementary also rather than separate lessons. Expanding our student clubs and leadership opportunities. The high school is doing a great job with those pieces and just giving opportunities at our middle school and elementary schools as well. So that's a focus of our administrators in schools, increasing those partnerships through events, and also just having parents come into the buildings and doing the volunteering and be part of the day, and how we communicate with them about what's happening during the day. Building strong relationships and partnerships. Our social workers are doing a great job with that, not only for the families in immediate needs, but also through some of those connections, it's bringing more to the schools and those partnerships, and then just honoring our diverse cultures. So, any questions tonight?
Not really a question, but a comment that when we wrote the goal, I think we were also thinking about our staff too. And Care Solace does kind of, I know tonight was about the students, but thinking about how we're, as a group, thinking about our staff's well-being and belonging too.
Yep. I can't talk. During our retreat in August, we had our behavior specialists come in and work with our administrators, teaching them strategies that they can do with their administrators. So kind of modeling that piece so that the teachers do it, but then the teachers can implement those same things with their students. So that's the big thing behind conscious discipline. It is really teaching you as the adult or as the person how to manage your own emotions, how to regulate, how to recognize when you're escalated, and what to do when you're escalated. And so I think I know that that's been a big focus with our administrators, working with our teachers. The elementary schools are all doing those brain start smarts where they're really, creating that sense of calm and recognizing those things. So I think, to your point, it's out there more through the lens of, if we teach you we're modeling with you those behaviors, then you can model those with your students, because we know that all of our kids are sponges and they learn from their reaction with us. So
That's a great example.
yeah, we're starting it, and we've done some very intentional work, but there's always work to do.
And I know it's ongoing.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how a lot of this does apply to the students,
Yeah.
but when you're doing this for the students, to your point, you're also, it is also for the staff and for
Right.
the
Yeah.
teachers and
And
such.
if you can't control your emotions, or you're not, celebrating your own successes or things, kids are seeing that, whether it's an elementary kiddo or a high school kiddo, right? And so we need to be in check with ourselves that way too. So we are working on that with our administrators.
Even beyond the modeling, it's hard to do it if you don't know how to do it for yourself. You might give a version of it, but it
Yeah.
isn't necessarily what it really is. Yeah.
So in addition to those safety, care, and conscious discipline training pieces, part of the SEL work of the staff when they were learning about embedding the benchmarks was also about modeling SEL skills. And so they got some of their own lessons around how they can model, like when they're stressed, and to talk about that. So basically, like the 3 components of the embedding SEL is kind of hiding it like vegetables, but also modeling it. And then I can't remember what the third one is, but they had PD on all of those. And so that's a little bit a part of it. And then the other thing I would add is the staff survey is coming soon next. Like, we prioritize the student survey, but there'll be some elements of the strategic plan staff monitoring of our parents. There'll be a parent survey and a staff survey that'll be layered in sometime later this year or early next year.
Yeah, neat. Thank you.
I don't know, when I looked at this before our meeting, I kept saying, what is missing? And I couldn't really come up with anything. And I think when we started 7-8 years ago, we just brought MTS to the district, and we were learning about pulling kids out for special things and trying to establish a multi-tiered system of support, right? So it's really impressive to see what you've built. The only thing I can say is, do you see any risk to achieving any of your goals?
It's not really risky.
Yeah, that is
right?
yeah.
Trade-off.
There's so much.
In the day, and so many opportunities for that professional development. And so that tends to be the barrier, but we're finding creative ways to get around it. So it isn't necessarily a hindrance, it's just something we acknowledge.
I think the only, my fear is that it's going to be a barrier is as we're developing the delivery of WIN at secondary in the next few years before the 2027-28 school year. When we look at the data, there is quite a bit of students that have carryover between the social emotional behavior needs and academic, to the shock of no one, right? This is an integrated issue. And so it's already complex building a delivery service model at a secondary, within a secondary schedule. So then delivering it in a way that we can also have tier 2 interventions throughout the day for students who qualify for needs in all those areas is going to be a complex problem that we're going to have to address. There's going to be some barriers with that, so.
Well, thank you both. I can't wait for a year from now to hear all the great things that we learned and have done.
Well, I appreciate the thought and the depth of thinking through systematic levels rather than just a superficial level, right? Embedding SEL into instruction is a very creative way of communicating the same, what really means to them and how they feel. So I'm sure it's not something very simple, and it's much more complex to implement. So I appreciate the work and intent. Thank you.
If I could just add to that, I want to thank this team, every one of them that works so hard to bring the strategic plan into reality. I'd also like to thank the board because the strategic plan and it has improved in every iteration that we've had, and it really helps guide our discussions, how we allocate our budget, all the different things, the resources, and that plan is really helpful in keeping us on track and allows these folks that you heard today do, just one example in this area, really, really solid work. So thank you all too.
Thank you. Years ago, lifetimes ago, it was not uncommon to hear something being implemented, but people not be able to feel the difference. And so it was kind of like, okay, we've done that in name, but the impact that is supposed to be part of that name is not being felt by the people in our schools. And I just don't feel like that is what is happening anymore. And I appreciate, and every time I think about it, I'm so grateful that there isn't superficial implementation, that it's real, and that it's you're continuously exploring new ways to do better at meeting needs, even knowing what they are. So it's really profound. I was going to write you a note, and I'm very bad at that. So I'll just mention it. When I was looking through the art and notes and things that you guys gave, which you guys were so sweet and generous and creative and thoughtful when you were with your gifts and things during the Superintendent's Recognition Month. It was really sweet. And the lunchbox has a very prized location in our house now. But I was looking through all of those pictures. I even have a couple of photos that I really will send you. And I just kept seeing that what they were saying to us, right, was really what they were saying about school and about the experience that you guys are helping to make sure they have in school. And so I wanted to just push that back to you guys. Like, that was really sweet and it was really cute. But it spoke volumes about what's happening in their daily lives in the schools through the programs that you guys are creating. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item number 5.01. We have a policy 1005, key functions of the board, first reading. Looked into it. There is a lot of expansion of the definitions of the roles. and it's coming from WASDA.
Mhm.
Yep.
Any discussion?
No.
My only discussion on it is that it's a bit of an odd policy in that it doesn't point to very many specifics, and some of the specifics it does point to are kind of not really within our purview. Because it's a discretionary policy, I would love for us to either rewrite parts of it so that it reflects more of our actual role instead of kind of a feeling kind of a thing, or just we don't have to adopt it. It's a completely discretionary policy. Anyway, that's my discussion.
Many of the things that Renee may be thinking about could come in a procedure as well
Right.
Mhm.
to accompany the policy and actual
Yeah.
examples of.
Or, yeah,
I think the policy overall talks about different sections of it and how we are supposed to think about acting for the benefit of the students and the district. So it's not necessarily specific action, but a overall objective.
High level guidelines as to what we should be thinking about
Correct.
when we're.
well, and
Yeah.
if it was a like, what you should be thinking about, I'd be like, oh, that's great. But because it's a policy in my mind that speaks to measurable, accountable, it seems like an odd placement for that information. But I'm not, I don't feel so strongly.
Yeah.
It's just an observation. This is not a required one. It's a little bit odd for a policy. If it were me, I would not put it in.
I do hear what you're saying because it isn't like some of the
Right.
other policies
Yeah.
that we have. There might still be value in having it like documented there in a way.
Right.
So that maybe I would just add that.
Yeah.
But I do hear what you're saying. It's more
the spirit.
guidelines.
It's
or
the
something.
spirit.
But
It is the
maybe
spirit.
worth
It's a good way
it,
to say it.
given that
Mhm.
WASDA bases so much of their stuff on this. I mean, I had a couple things about it that I was like, but overall, it might be good to have it there for parents to see.
Right.
So I'll
Yeah.
throw that out.
I'm okay with it. It's not, I don't know if I would have written it exactly how it is, but there's nothing on here that I don't agree with. And as we've learned, I know I'm broken record with this, but as we've learned, if we're going to put a policy in, unless we are just hellbent, honestly, on not following the model policy, we should follow the model policy,
Right.
or unless we have objections. But at least for me personally, there's nothing on here I do not disagree with. Yeah, I probably would have written some of the things a little bit differently, but it's WASDA and it's a consortium of people that are coming up with language. But there's nothing on here that I wouldn't say I don't support.
Exactly.
I'm bought into everything that's on here. So in terms of being a board director, so.
Well
I
said.
think in many ways, the work we're about to start when this meeting is over will give some
Context.
context and concreteness to some of this at least.
Now, great discussion for sure, because that's exactly what we need to have. Since what I heard was there's no objection, it could have been written differently, or the language could have been different. However, we do follow pretty much what it is said, the spirit behind it. So, said that, and no further discussion, can we move it on to the second reading?
Yes.
I'm okay.
Okay, sounds good. Awesome. All right. Next is future meeting dates. We have the next board meeting on March the 12th, and the same day is also the Wildcat night. So that'll be, this high school will be buzzing, right? And following that is a board meeting on 26th and April 7th. Then we have the NSBA conference, 9th through 12th, and spring break thereafter.
7th is a Tuesday, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Just a note.
Mhm. Yep, we moved it, right? So-
Yeah.
Other than that, is there any good of the order?
I'll just say that the Snoqualmie Snow King Arenas had their 14U tournament. It was, I think, 22 or 26 teams, at least 2 from Canada, and the 14U B team took the cup.
Wow.
So congratulations to them. The next tournament is the 18U tournament for March Madness.
Wish our DECA state students and our basketball athletes, and I don't know if I'm missing anything else, but we have a lot of successful students doing a lot of cool things, and
Yeah.
wishing them great success over the next few weeks.
Oh, we have the band extravaganza.
And
Yes.
this week. Oh
extravaganza,
my
yeah,
goodness.
that's
Next
a big
week.
one too.
Mhm.
And I know it got mentioned, but it wasn't as final as it is now. All of the people who worked on passing the levy, I know Connor, Dan, Brian, Andrea, especially making presentations throughout the community. And I'm sure the scheduling, Joan, that went with that. And then the citizens committee and all of the families that jumped into conversations. It was fun to see that they didn't just succeed, but they resoundingly succeeded. And I think that speaks a lot to our community and to the work that you guys did. So, well done.
One more. We've had some comments about the proposed National Guard center by the Twin Falls Middle School and some concerns about air quality. So the Puget Sound Air Quality is going to lend us a sensor to put at the school. There are currently 4 sensors around the school that mainly monitor air quality for wildfires. And at this point, they don't have any particulate concerns or pollution concerns with the existing monitors, but it would be interesting to see if this one picks up anything. And as well, they're going to do some training and maybe make it educational.
Oh,
Or-
cool.
That's
That's
wonderful.
cool,
Did you
Gary.
lead the effort?
Gary did
Gary?
Did
that
you
work.
start that?
So
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool from a learning perspective too.
Our
Yeah.
concerned citizen will be excited to
There
hear
you
that,
go.
I think.
Yes.
I can't wait for you to tell him.
Well, I don't know what the data will show or if it
Sure.
will show anything, but it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to
Which is-
find
That's
out.
cool.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
But monitoring is the key to
Yes.
any action, right? So
Right.
at least we
know.
have that part set.
Is there?
Yeah, and I did send them the plan from the National Guard to hopefully get somebody there to model
Mhm.
what it would be as an
Right,
impact.
but it's not.
That's fantastic.
you.
Thank you.
Good
But I
job,
also
Gary.
confirmed that they don't measure the air around the current facility,
Okay.
so they don't have a recording to know
Mhm.
what they do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if I'm remembering correctly, Washington has a no idling law, but it's very hard to hold people to that. And so where the number should be low doesn't mean that they are. If I may add on to that, I wanted to throw in a thank you to the city for doing the study on the speed zones in the school zones and exploring adding in an ordinance so that they can put in cameras and help hold account. That's apparently you learn something new every day. The warnings are very effective at curbing. It doesn't have to be a ticket. Just knowing that the cameras are there, warnings go out. Even that is extremely effective in changing behavior. So I hope to see that succeed. And I appreciate them investing so much time and energy into making sure that our school zones are safe.
Wonderful. Excellent. Said that, we are going to suspend this meeting and go into the learning session, and then we'll close out the meeting.
Transition into the work
Transition
session.
into-
Transition.
Yep.
Transition.
Same. We all
Same
know what
thing?
we're talking about. Same.
Thank you for, I sent you some homework last Thursday. Hopefully you've had some time over the last week to kind of look over some things and show you that. There we go. And to review, the purpose of our work tonight is really just to review our operating standards that we looked at in 2023. See if there's opportunity for alignment in our governance goal and our strategic plan. Calibrate against the WASDA governance standards, which are part of our strategic plan as well. And determine if we need any edits or not. Oops. So again, this work is anchored in 3 different documents. And really it's 2, because our strategic plan, the effective governance, does come from those WASDA standards. And also the operating standards that the board created in 2023. When I had my chance to look through the operating standards that were created in 2023, they're very solid. So I don't know how long this may take us tonight, because if I look at the work that was done then compared to the documents that will anchor this work in, a very good starting point for us to go from. So here's your first task. I know you've had some time to do some work ahead of time, but I'd like you to take a minute and in one sentence write what distinguishes a highly effective governing board from an average one.
Would you like it on any sort of medium?
Just, you can write it, there's a tablet in front of you, we're just gonna write it down. 13 font.
Are we going to
sans,
speak
no.
it,
Thank
or are
you.
you going to collect them?
That's
Are
much
we
We're gonna
just
better.
speak it.
We're just gonna
This
go
is
around.
for you.
Okay.
Do we start with our name,
Well,
date,
don't do
and
so.
rank?
Oh.
You can if you'd like.
Yeah.
One
Big
district.
Uno.
I don't like that restriction.
Can I go 14?
You can. If you have ChatGPT on your phone, you might choose to use that.
I did that work. I can't find it now.
Or you can't find it anywhere.
Ask it to retrieve it. We need to form these in the form of a question or a statement.
Nope, just a statement, I would say.
You know, if we're playing a game.
Ryan's not here tonight, so
Prize.
No fun, just playing.
Yeah. Have you noticed the,
I
That
get
is-
I'm
it.
really proud of you.
Very subtle, but
I asked,
I like it.
we call this conified.
I like it.
Let me star for the day.
For the reflection thing?
Yeah,
Those things matter.
he added there, conified. We ready? All right, if we want to start to share, does anyone care to read their statement first?
We don't like to share.
Or Joan will pick. Gary, you ready to
I was
share?
hiding.
Oh,
A board that sets and communicates high academic expectations, practice responsibility in school governance, and promotes a community belonging.
want to read that one more time for Andrea?
We need the ability to have a tablet and just go like that.
Right?
Those things exist, actually.
It's not like my kids. Academic expectations. I picked my favorites out of them.
Nice.
Hey, I don't consider it cheating when the data and the things are there.
Studentship, yeah.
It's resources.
All right.
Merci.
Would someone like to go next?
I can go.
Okay.
I wrote down it's a collaborative team while aligning on strategic outcomes that are unbiased and objective.
That include cultural bias.
Unbiased means anything,
Everything.
anything and everything, personal, cultural.
You did. You were. Okay.
Thank you.
Mine are easier. I did bullets because
Nice.
I don't want to chat GBT it.
I did.
So cohesive, which I think is very similar to what Ron was talking about. In all cases, prioritizing students' well-being and success. And established goals that will tell us when we are succeeding. Measurable goals.
So when we were at WASDA, one of the classes was about this very thing. And the researcher said that the answer was when the board has a healthy relationship with the superintendent. So I'll just throw that out there. I picked when the board operates as a team with the superintendent versus being a group of individuals that just happen to work on a board together. So team versus group of individuals. I need you to put versus individuals.
Versus individuals. It's very important.
In red.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Renee? Anything?
Student-focused, open, and supportive communication.
Boiled down and powerful. Boiled down and powerful.
Yes. Very
Well
good.
done.
Okay. All right, looking for things that continue to pop up there or themes, words that keep surfacing. Anybody have a notice?
Collaborative and doing things as a team versus individual.
Collaborative, cohesive. Mhm.
Ed, that's not Cochise.
No.
Student, I see in
And
there.
students on there.
Because the question was the difference between a highly effective board and an average board. So like average boards, hopefully students are hopefully very the students at the center. It's hard to think about what is that next thing that kicks you up to a highly effective.
One of the things that I've heard repeatedly is that student focus, that it is very easy to get. And
Adult
that doesn't mean
focused.
you never
Yep.
have a topic or a moment that's about something else, but that your focus is on student success and that that's kind of the origin of all the things that you engage in.
To your point, Judith, I think something that resonated with me, what Melissa said was measurable too.
Yeah.
That would be like sets to measurable and sets.
I would say strategic outcomes, yeah.
Anything missing or any other notices we want to?
I like the focus. That means we are always aligning to, we can be collaborative as a team, but if we're not focused, then we are not going to achieve the
Not
outcomes.
achieving anything yet. Dilute everything, dilute our effort.
Yep.
And really, this is just to get your mind set when we review those operating standards.
I think the thing that I'm thinking of as I look at that is I'm like seeing the word team very strongly and then individuals. And it's like, okay, teams are made up of individuals. So we have to bring each of ourselves to the work that we're doing. There's a reason there's 5 of us and not 1 of us. And that together appreciating what each of us brings to the table helps us be a good team.
Anything else? Okay. All right, now you should have a copy, and you may have done this already if you had the time to look at that work from last Thursday, but if we need a few minutes, I'd ask you to take a look at the operating standards that we currently have that I believe are very strong. And there's 3 marks there. If you have something that you believe, and everything does not need a mark, and this is just for you in your notes. If one of those needs clarification, please mark it with a question mark. A dot if we think something's missing in that, or if something is outdated or unnecessary or redundant. And this would be the actual operating standard document that you should have.
What's interesting is when we're talking about like a high-performing board, a low-performing board in their operating instructions would have to have meeting protocols like one person talks
Yep.
by being
Silly things, yep.
recognized, right? That
Timekeeper.
voices have to remain
Yeah.
at a civil level, that you speak to the president and not directly to other members. So I would consider us already on a different level,
Mhm.
since we don't have to have those. Just want to.
I appreciate that.
I forgot to call out another conification. If you see the,
Anchor.
there.
Image?
I see it.
Oh, in the background. Oh,
Anchor?
Ghost image.
Are you Anchor Club?
Those were the two he was most proud of. But we need a few more minutes, or where are we at?
1 minute. Oh, I didn't go line by line in this one.
Before we get started, I'd like to get clarification on this. It says when board members serve on various district committees, what does that mean? Is it the city or is it our school
the
district?
district.
It'd be
School
like,
district?
it'd be like when, I think Renee, maybe, I can't remember who sat on, like the Math Pathways Committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or something of that nature.
Well, and you were on,
Mm.
were on the tech.
The tech
tech
committee,
Yeah,
yeah, but those are
That
district,
is an advisory committee. Oh, it's still.
yes,
it's
within the district though,
Within the
not.
district.
Okay.
And then I just, right before you said that, I wrote down, we need to talk about and define what a liaison is.
Okay, are we ready then? Sounds like we're moving into discussion.
Sure.
Ready to go into that? All right, we'll start at the board primary responsibilities and just things to think about. Does this language clearly guide our consistent practice? Could it be interpreted differently? by different readers? And would expectations be clear to a new board member?
I think the last bullet point, we don't have a lot of controversy for whatever reason, and I don't know if we get a diverse set of perspectives.
Are you,
On
What are
the
you-
board
where are you on?
operating standards? Are we not there?
we're gonna start with the board primary responsibilities. Just, we'll take it section by section
Up
to
at the
break
top.
it down a bit.
Yeah, yeah, the fourth bullet point. Engage and represent the community and high expectations for student learning.
Okay,
I'm just saying that I don't know that we engage to get a diverse opinion. Like, we don't have a lot of people showing up for certain
Oh, in terms of
discussions
representing the
on-
community. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's- I know
when we
what you
talk
mean.
about curriculum adoptions, there aren't any, I don't know, does everybody agree? Then we're good, but we don't have anybody saying we should adopt this curriculum versus this one.
Well, they
It's
gave
kind
us
of like getting the
responsibility.
no,
should be
it's
doing
kind of
it.
like the no statement on the ballot, right? Is you got to find somebody who's strong enough against it to get that diverse opinion.
But do you
So-
believe, going back to the purpose of this, do you believe that that is a, I mean, because is that a bullet that you believe we should be exemplifying?
I just
Not
want to
grading
discuss
ourselves
it.
tonight.
I-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
is it clear? Is it missing something?
I think we should definitely be doing that.
Is it outdated?
Sure.
I appreciate there being a focus on high expectations for student learning, but that's not the only thing we engage the community on or ask them to engage us on. So I would pull or add that. I would either pull that phrase or add to it, because that, to me, it's we will engage and represent
What do you,
community.
what do you think is missing?
Well, it's a much more general role than in high expectations for student learning.
You're saying it's limiting.
I'm saying
As it's
that if we're
written.
going to be specific, then there's a lot longer list. If we want to be general, then we pull that off.
I mean, in my mind, it is exactly what I'm focused on doing is I'm representing the community to ensure that our students achieve the highest expectation. And then follow on, there are a couple of other places where we collaborate with superintendent and, make sure that all these systems are in place. But the primary objective is that it's
That's what
not
we do.
about district, how the district is being run, but the outcome of the student performance or, their happiness or their success
That all goes into it, right?
is what our primary objective is.
And so, to me, public engagement of board members goes far beyond even just our own district, but education.
I don't
in
know if that
general.
calls out
For public
public
engagement.
engagement
No,
whatsoever.
that's what I'm saying. Well, it does. It says engages and represents. And so that goes both ways. That's what I saw. So
Okay.
I guess the short version is, I don't think this one is very clear. I think somebody could come in and really misunderstand what that says, and then I think we disagree on what that says.
So the first part is engage with the community. That means when you're seeking your neighbors and friends in the community of what your objective is as a board member in this district, that is the engagement. And the second part is represent. We are representing our community and their expectations and transferring that into these meetings so that the district staff can.
Yep. Which is the definition of when we go into an election.
Correct.
Basically,
Right.
so.
So I have people engage me because I'm a board member and ask me questions
Sure.
about all manner of things.
Sure.
And as a board member, there are a number of things that come up that have to do with like, oh, that might be something you want to connect with the school about.
Yes.
So it's our community, it's the kids, it's the staff, it's the funding, is everything going back to that? Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I don't just engage my neighbor on
I don't
what
think-
our talking
But this
points
is
are.
responsibilities. This is not
And I
This
believe.
is not like a
Right.
limitations or restrictions. This
This
is
our
Right.
primary,
our primary responsibility.
that we
So
want high expectations for our students
That,
is
if that
the
was
key to a
separate.
good public education.
I think we need
But
to
that
look,
is it. It's,
If that
we're
was
going
separate.
to engage and represent that we have high expectations for student achievement.
Okay.
and I would ask that
statement I can
you
say.
read I mean, all of these primary responsibilities, because a lot of what these are meant to be broad statements. So
Mhm.
the first one, for example, will represent the needs and interests of all students
Every.
in the district. I mean, it's covered, right? And high expectations, I mean, I understand what you're saying with the high, Renee. To me, when I read that, of course, I live this stuff, but high means different things to different students, right? And IEP sets goals. Those goals are high expectations for those students. For another student, an AP student, high expectations
Something
could,
different.
could be
Yep.
different.
So I see two different things in this statement, and that's why I'm talking about pulling them apart. What you said is a statement, I would be like, yeah, that works. But we actually have a role as a board member in advocacy and public engagement.
But we actually don't.
Yeah, we do.
Our
actually.
goal is, the reason that we do this is all about the students and bringing up student learning, everything for the students. It's not, yes, a lot of this other stuff comes into it, but this is the end goal. And again, some of the roles and responsibilities, and maybe we can get to those as well, but there are some things that we actually have no business commenting on, and they should be talking to somebody else in the district. But in the end, our primary goal, at least for me, from the 9 years or whatever that I've been on here, it is all about students. And again, the high expectations, that's why that was chosen along. And I'm probably more biased because I was part of both of the versions of them. But it was very thoughtfully chosen because of exactly what Dan was, it's different for all students. But in the end, this is what the school board does. We are not here to build buildings. We are not here to, yes, it's great to make, connections in the community. It's great that we do all this other stuff, but in the end, it better all be going towards improving getting to the highest expectation for our student learning. So it better all be going there. Otherwise, we're doing something we shouldn't be doing.
Well,
So that's where.
And yes, that is, we talked about that being the focus. That's the core reason we do what we do. That's why we're in the seats, I hope.
Yep.
And, but that is not how you're saying, right there. Does it need clarification? I believe that does. I believe that indicates something that I would have not, what you're saying, I agree with. This,
So what would you
I
use
would
then?
not.
Yeah, what would
What
be
would you
your,
use? Because we could be here for an
your
hour.
example, or
Or we could just talk about it.
what would be your
Change.
suggestion?
Yep.
I actually really liked the statement that Gary said. That was the perfect, simple sentence. Do you, any chance you remember what that was? Because it took out this,
The
It
board
made it more
engages
general.
the community and high expectations for student learning, I think.
I think something like that, yeah.
We don't engage the community
We-
though. See, the thing is, we represent the community and we engage with the community outside of the school, our operations or our work here, but we do not engage the community for high expectation. That means we are actively getting the community to be part of the decision-making process. That's how I will
Yeah.
read it.
That's how I see it as well, as engaging is how we represent the community
Right.
versus
I see
maybe engage is
I
too
see
strong
it
to start off
that
with. I don't
we-
know.
I wanted
But
to
We
say
represent to
represent.
the community our district's high expectations for achievement. That's the way I kind of take it.
We can
Is-
switch it around if you need.
Or
to.
we're setting policy, for example, on adoption committees. There is, by policy, there should be a parent, or there should be representation
Yeah.
or engagement of the community in those. That's my read on that. And because board members set policy, so what in policy are you setting to ensure that we're getting voice? We heard about surveys, student surveys, parent surveys, the different things. Those are ways to engage so you can represent the
Yep.
community.
Okay.
But it's so that we can represent.
Right.
We are not engaging to engage, we're engaging so that we represent the community, which is the
Yeah.
definition of our board seats.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to a, let's see, you're going to a gala for Encompass, you're probably not in a heated or lengthy conversation about math pathways. You're there just, that's more relational. But the policies that we build are to ensure that we're getting voice and representation when we make these decisions.
Mhm. Yep.
So is it clear? I mean, that's how I read it, but we could,
If people are reading it differently, then we need to
well,
maybe
to me, the
simplify it
wording,
a little bit.
to me, based on what Renee's saying, which I kind of understand, I think you just take out the word engage.
If that's the part that's confusing.
Because
That we represent the
listen to?
community.
Mhm.
That's fine. That would be fine. Engage is a complex, multi-layered thing. It happens at every level, local, regional, state, federal,
Let's just
And-
take engage out, because I think that,
there.
Is that the
yeah,
hang up?
if that's the hang up, let's just take it out, because I think it was a feeder before, and it's
Yeah.
becoming too big of a,
right,
okay, yeah.
Great.
okay? Joan, are you taking notes too in case I miss? All right, thank you. All right, moving on to roles.
Copious.
Roles, yeah, any other in the primary responsibilities, sorry?
My only one is that our strategic, our mission and vision say every student,
Okay,
That's a good one.
and all we is not, yeah.
So we changed it, yep.
okay, good catch.
I wish it still said each and every.
All right, moving on to roles and responsibilities section. That's the lengthy section. Anything that needs clarification?
I don't think we need the second bullet because I think it's covered in the first. So board members will collaborate with the superintendent to set clear goals. I think we cover that in the first one.
I agree.
And the reasoning behind that was to, and maybe we don't need it now because we do have such a, but it was to reinforce the fact that the board members, the board itself collaborates with the superintendent versus pure goal setting and working together, and that it was a partnership. So I think now it's probably redundant. I don't know, Dan, what you think?
To me, it's the strategic plan.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I get that from the one in the top. I mean, you create an environment of trust, you create an environment of communication, of availability, whatever it is. And when we go down there, to me, we collaborated
Mhm.
to create the strategic plan, which are
Yep.
what drives the work.
Yep, that's a fair point.
Those might be able to be combined.
Yeah, or just, I mean, so again, when we did this, it was a fight to create a strategic
Mhm.
plan. This is before even Gary and my time. So there was a reason that bullet was in there, is to agree that we were gonna have a strategic plan. So,
You know, it's hard to think
Maybe
of
we
these
don't.
as like in a neutral environment. Like we're having our experience now, you had your experience. It's
yeah,
like,
and again, that was well
future
before,
board will have their.
yeah, that was well before me, but there was a reason why that was called out, is because there
Yeah.
was apparently a lot of discussion on,
Yeah.
do we need a strategic plan?
And it's
or
certainly not an offensive statement.
Yeah,
so.
but it's probably pretty redundant. I mean, the two
Yeah.
themselves.
If
are
I was a
little
new
redundant.
superintendent coming in outside the district, to me, that would, okay. That
would give you notice
clarifies.
The
that
top one or
there's
the
gotta be
bottom
a
one?
handshake there.
I think they're both okay.
Well,
Okay,
And
okay.
then can we switch it so that it says board and superintendent collaborate? Since it's a mutual collaboration.
But these are your operating standards, so that's
Yeah,
why it's written
why
that
it's
way.
focused on us. Yeah. Yeah, all of them start with the board, don't they? Yep.
Anything,
Yeah.
any other clarifications, redundancies?
Okay, this is minutia. But I would make them active instead of will, that it says facilitates, prepares, serves, demonstrates. instead of will. It's
I
minutia,
tried
but I would do
What
that.
was the objection?
Why are you looking at me?
You were there.
I don't remember, like, if it was too much work, probably.
I don't remember. We went through and changed it all, and then they changed it back. for
Are
some
you,
reason.
when you say that, Renee, are you talking about we're in this section, or are you
Yeah,
talking
well,
about
I would do it
No,
on the
the
whole
whole
thing,
thing.
active voice,
the whole thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be the board represents, the
Yeah.
board creates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
We can take a stab at that.
I don't know.
Gary,
I do
I
remember that.
I suggest, yeah,
I mean, you
It was Gary's
should have leaned
idea.
into that.
I should have.
We'll
I
take a
was
stab
new.
at that.
You were new. I was new.
Okay?
I didn't belong yet.
This was in
You were, that was
2023.
3 years ago.
So you were not new.
It was reviewed again in 20.
Okay, it was reviewed again.
It wasn't the first iteration.
I don't remember reviewing.
Sorry.
Okay?
Go
The
ahead.
very last one on the front page is refer individuals, and I would rather it say refer or connect, because I am never gonna blind refer somebody away from me. I'm always gonna connect them with who they need to connect with.
Meaning, like, give Dan a heads up or give someone a heads up
Yeah,
that's
meaning
coming.
I'm gonna like do a handoff. I'm not just gonna say, you should call your principal. I'm gonna say, let's get you to them. That's
So
just how I,
we'll refer or connect individuals.
Yeah.
Choose, okay.
Refer-
Yep, or connect.
or
'cause-
connect. Or
Yep,
connect,
because I'm
not
not,
and.
I'm not gonna connect.
All of them.
Not.
right,
Some
no,
of them,
I
but not
get
all
it,
of
but
it.
I will not.
I hear
They
you,
can
but,
say whatever,
but
I will never
that's
do
really
that.
something for the teacher to first discuss with.
Yeah.
Well, and oftentimes by the time they get to us, they have had multiple discussions with teachers and they don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
Some,
I understand, but
Not
doesn't, yeah,
but
let's not
often.
say and, but
Yeah,
or.
I
Yes.
have or.
Right.
within a
Or's
different.
great.
Joan, do you have
within a
or?
different area.
Well, and I think that's important to note, like, it's
I got it.
different in different circumstances and
Yeah.
I'm not, you do it, but yeah.
Well,
I'm
we
gonna
jumped
connect them.
up, but you wanted to talk about this liaison thing.
Yeah, liaison definition, which doesn't necessarily have to be in this document, but I think that that's an important thing for us to talk about at some point, what that looks like.
Okay, moving on to the backside. Still the first 4 bullets, anything of note there?
There might be some wordsmithing on some of these to make them not future and present. As I'm looking for the will be directed.
Mhm.
The only one I put a question mark next to needs clarification. I would personally change the wording on board sessions will be for in-depth discussion.
Where
Where is
And,
that?
bullet?
to beneficial learning or discussion and or discussion.
Where are you?
Wait, where are
I
we?
guess in-depth is,
Where-
you know what, my
where-
whole,
wait,
She's
what-
in restrictions.
I'm on
third
restrictions.
bullet down.
and I'm realizing as I'm reading it again, that my brain saw the first part of that sentence and wanted to rewrite it. And once you get to the last of it, which I read, but I didn't process, it doesn't matter.
So is that the only comment? All the other, everything else, the decision making and stuff is?
I have a comment under decision making, just an idea to add under the first bullet. The board will consider research, best practice, public input, and financial implications as part of the decision making process. Maybe add something like impact to staff and students. Like we don't talk about,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
The actual
And
people.
potential impact
Okay,
to
yeah, the
And potential
staff.
impact.
The people that actually do all the work, yeah.
Okay,
Good ad.
That is a good ad. I shouldn't have just deigned that with my approval, but I really like that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like compliments.
But the
so I'll
decision-
take it.
can I,
Judith, the decision making is influenced by the fourth bullet on the primary responsibility that we are going to collaborate high expectations, right? So the impact is towards the high expectation of the students. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, just.
Oh, I'm like, okay.
No, I like reinforcing. You said staff and students,
Yes.
right? Yeah, I
Yes.
like that. Yep. It's so funny reading this again because I knew they meant so much different. It was so
It
different.
was so different.
Okay, can we go back? I don't like boardsmanship skills. I just think
where we
that's-
at?
Yeah.
I went back.
Well, Here, the third
Okay.
bullet.
I don't
in
want to be
roles and
nitpicky, but the
responsibilities.
third one
Please do.
down, board members will prepare themselves for meetings. I would get rid of themselves. Will prepare for meetings
Yeah.
and
Yep.
participate in professional development by attending board trainings and WASDA networking opportunities or something
And
like
just leave it
that.
at that. Yep.
Boardsman- You don't like the.
Will you say that?
Sportsmanship. What are we, the 1800s?
Say
Come
it.
on, guys.
Say it again.
50s, come on.
Do you remember it? Because it was
Joan,
really
did
good.
you get all that?
Got it?
I have it.
Joan is
Make it
good.
simpler.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ask a question and I'm a little nervous.
Okay.
No, I think themselves should be in there, because who do they prepare?
Themselves, but,
Yeah.
but we're not preparing you, we're preparing. It's kind of,
You like themselves?
I need a,
So
something
basically,
there.
it's
Who
not
do they
a,
prepare?
it-
Well,
it's
it's
not a
prepared,
collective study.
period.
I mean, if we have
It's
to tell
individually you have
you how to
prepare yourself.
prepare.
Who else would you be
I'm just
preparing?
thinking
but yourself?
grammatically that it's like a handshake in a sentence. It's-
I don't know. I think it's
Oh,
awkward.
Not
but-
anymore.
My own-
Not with texting.
I'm old, so.
Do you want boardsmanship back in?
You can
Kinda.
have boardsmanship or themselves, but not both.
Pick one of the two.
Themselves.
Can I ask
Okay.
Sensitive question.
not sensitive, I just don't want to get bogged down because it's not that big a deal to me. But on restrictions, we tried today, in talking to Ram and Judith, we called it a learning session. I've seen them called study sessions, certainly work sessions.
sessions.
Do you want me to list them all? Do we care that it's still work session? Or-
Oh,
It's-
okay.
if we're gonna have multiple, then we can just put multiple in, or we
Right.
can.
What does it say in Robert's rules or in our standards? Does it say
Nothing in
sessions?
Robert's rules.
But it's so in the
In the
WASDA,
WASDA standards?
it's
They say work, don't they?
work. I think they're all work, and then there's other work and executive, and then there's special too. But isn't it all under other sessions? Like
Yeah,
it's like other. I think the category is other sessions. But
You
maybe
call it anything. but-
we can just go pull what
how
WASDA
about
calls
board
them.
sessions? Okay, we'll look to see.
How
what
about
WASDA-
board work sessions or the board allows for work sessions or additional
I
time?
think what it's saying is just for the in-depth conversation, so.
Instead of a board meeting where you go, where you derail a board meeting.
Yeah.
Again, there was reasons for these bullets.
Well, at that
Yeah.
point,
They were going on.
Well, and
Having
that's a
flashbacks,
huge
like-
one. I like the idea of going to whatever the standards say, because that generality is supposed to cover a lot of territory.
Yeah, and it's anything other than a board meeting. I can't remember what it calls it. I think they break it up into,
we'll double check in,
Yeah.
in the WASDA.
I don't think it's called executive anymore. It's called something
There
else.
still are, I think there's
Special
still,
Executive sessions,
there's still
but it's
those,
study.
but
employment, it's special session now. If it's
No,
about
it's
an
a special
employment or
meeting.
something, it's a
special
special meeting.
meetings.
Yeah, that's an emergency.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, that is
Um,
something, that's the
You could do,
not noticed.
allows extra time for in-depth discussions, e.g. work sessions.
we'll see if there's direct language in
Yeah.
WASDA on that.
It's, the intent is to make sure we're highlighting the fact that if it turns into a discussion, we don't want
That
that
we
to
do
be in a
this.
board meeting.
Board
We do
meeting.
something that's more,
Oh,
Open.
more discussion
Okay,
oriented,
so
where we're gonna
something
like
that
get
says
nitty
that.
gritty.
Like what we are doing right now.
Yeah,
yeah,
where we have open discussion, and I think they tried to do that
Something
with
that-
one or two specific, but it's when there's a discussion.
So-
Is better
A
with
lengthy
less
discussion,
formality
working
and open
session,
discussion.
working.
yeah.
I mean, it
And
says
then-
work
So more
sessions.
in-depth conversations
start
are
to see it?
held for.
Yes, I will.
So more in-depth conversations can be,
Right.
can be,
Like this.
Excluded from the.
can,
regular
yeah,
board meeting.
can be.
Yeah, like
made
we wouldn't
up.
do this during a board meeting. This would be
Right.
completely
I mean, it's all
disruptive,
just
so.
about common language, consistent practice, so if someone new comes in, what's a work session versus, I've only seen learning I mean, and what do you wanna call these, and then we'll put that
Yep.
in there.
Well, and that's really clarifying to me, because I was like, well, of course we have work sessions, but oh, this is
Yeah.
not, this is specifically if we need to go in depth.
Yeah.
We'll have a session
Right.
for that.
This was because we didn't
And
want to
that's-
derail board meetings.
That's not what I read when I saw that, so I really
Work session, because
appreciate.
I
you
forgot
being
until
in
I,
that sentence.
I forgot until we started
Not
digging
learning.
into it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, we just,
Yeah. Work session.
you could put work, you could put study, you could put learn.
Yeah,
We will check the WASDA standard.
And that makes-
Any other clarification that needs to happen here? Okay. This is just a connection back to priority 2 of our strategic plan, which really are the governance pieces from WASDA. So are we doing those? I believe that all of these are communicated in one manner or another in these executive or these operating standards. If a public person read this, they would understand your role. Student, it talks about the board and superintendent partnership. Your role versus the superintendent's role, it discusses that or clarifies that, and working as a team and collaborative and governance. And I believe that we did this
Did a lot of these already, or if not
in your
all of them.
homework.
Yeah.
This is just for your review. You had the WASDA one pager or the WASDA standards as you did your work. Since our governance, our strategic plan is built directly off of those, and these two, I believe that we've done these things. And we just completed this work. I don't know that we didn't strike anything, did we? We didn't delete anything. We clarified.
Mhm.
We did a little bit of adding and we kept all of them.
Okay, I do have one other edit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 7th bullet under roles and responsibilities of the board. I think we should keep that will.
1, 2,
The board members will demonstrate good listening skills and exhibit respect when addressed by the public. It should be will, not we do, but we,
Instead of demonstrate.
yeah.
Yeah.
It should be will there.
They're gonna wrench into the whole thing.
Okay.
There's gonna be
That
some other
works.
ones.
the work.
Just
All
give
right.
the public-
So Jones has her notes. I have my notes. We'll go back and make these, an attempt to make them active. We have the markups where you all ask for some changes. And then we will bring those back for a quick read, or I'll email you separately and you can give me feedback back. And when it's done, we'll have them laminated and in front of you
So we
at your
can just
spot.
Throw these away then.
Well, let's not do that quite yet, because
It'll take some time.
time to get there, but
This is total, this
you want me
is
to autograph it so you can take it home?
yeah, maybe. Can we change the bullets, whatever those icons are?
You want some different
Can we change
bullets?
the font? The font is
Oh, the
seriously
boring.
outdated.
Here,
Oh,
but
yeah.
whatever this one.
Everyone is over 40,
Make it
Jones, so
pretty.
let's,
Font and the, I don't know what
It'll
those
be like
bullets
10
are,
pages
what those icons are.
Very outdated.
what is that?
I've never known what it is,
You
but
just
it's
want
always
bullets?
been there. I don't know what it is.
No
It's like
underlining on
very
headings.
old
Who
Arial.
does that anymore?
It's very old, but we're hipper than that.
Joan,
Are we?
I also suggest
One more
some.
Arial.
Most of us are hipper than that.
Okay.
I'm down for that.
All right,
All right, thanks for the conversation, appreciate
that
it.
was good.
All right, are we done?
We're
I
done.
think we're done.
Okay.
All right.
Not done until you tell us that.
Now we're done.
Adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Dan?